Hello, homebuyers. This is Ben Clark, principal broker of Homebuyer Representation in Salt Lake City, Utah, with the latest Utah real estate market update. Let's take a look and see how things are going out there. There are going to be five takeaways. Five things I want you to take away from this video. First, you're highly unlikely to outsave appreciation. So that's number one. Number two, you might need to adjust your expectations on what you can buy in real estate. Number three, economics favor homeowners. Number four, we are never going back to 1980s home prices. And number five, buying now and refinancing later might make some sense. So let's take a look at things. First, there's stability in the national housing market. Very few foreclosures. Back in the bust, there were quite a few, a lot of short sales, things like that. Right now, everybody's got equity. They've got good interest rates. Not a lot of foreclosures. There's also very few risky loans. They took those out of the mix, so very few people are in questionable loan products. People can afford the loans that they're getting. The U.S. housing is way under supply. So we used to have a surplus of houses back in 2009. Now we're down to a shortage, millions of housing units short in the U.S. There are three factors of home affordability. One is the income component, how much money you make. Number two is the cost of the house price component. And number three is the mortgage rate component. And over the last few years, that mortgage rate component has been the biggest factor. As mortgage rates go up, of course, you need more income. And usually you would expect home prices to go down, but they actually went up because of that shortage that we're talking about. So housing affordability is worse now than it was in 2008. The average household only has about 70% of the income required to purchase a median priced home. This is where I was saying you might need to buy something that's lower than the median priced home if it's available in your market. There are three ways we could return to pre-pandemic affordability. One, U.S. incomes need to increase by 44%. That's fairly unlikely to happen in the next year or two. Two, home prices need to fall by 41%. Also very unlikely to happen in the next few years. And number three, mortgage rates need to return to sub 3%. Also very unlikely to go that far in the next few years. The fact of the matter is we just may never go back to the same level of pre-pandemic affordability. Homes will become more affordable, and we'll talk about how that will happen. But pre-pandemic levels, cheap, easy money, cheap, easy prices, those days are probably in the past. So facing the new reality, resetting those expectations for what it means to get into real estate is something that a lot of home buyers need to do. So incomes are increasing and they will continue to increase, but it takes time for that to happen. You'll see people that in jobs for 20, 30 years and new hires are making more than they are. It takes time for them to get disgruntled enough to go be the new hire at another company that's paying more and for those incomes to work through the system. Prices are likely not going down. And the reason is the bulk of sales, a higher percentage of sales is new construction, and the cost of land isn't getting any cheaper. The cost of labor isn't getting any cheaper. The cost of materials isn't getting cheaper. And the cost of interest, for them to borrow the money to build these homes isn't getting any cheaper. So the cost of a new home isn't likely going down substantially. Builders aren't just going to build millions of homes at a loss. Current owners also aren't going to sell at a perceived loss, meaning that they don't have to sell and lose money on the home, but with the cost of borrowing the money being so high, a seller selling in the same market that had a 3% rate now needing to buy at a 6% rate, 7% rate, to them, that's a perceived loss. So many sellers are staying put, which also means that the home prices are going to be more influenced by those new construction. Builders also, there's no incentive for them to build smaller, cheaper homes because the margin already with the cost of the land and the labor and the materials, it just isn't very high right now. So new home construction, they had a big surplus. They dropped off and really built fewer homes. They started to come back up, but they've dropped off again since those interest rates shot up substantially. Even here in Utah, housing permits were going up from 30 to 40,000 down to 30. down closer to 20. They anticipate about 23, 24,000. The problem with that is that we are growing by more than that many households per year here in the state. So this is just a graph showing the same thing: permits going up, permits coming down. As I mentioned, a higher percentage of homes, new construction homes, are higher percentage of the homes for sale are new construction homes, whereas it used to be that existing homes took up a higher percentage share of the market. Even though there are fewer new construction homes, as we talked about, and this is nationally, there's still more because very few of the existing homeowners are putting their homes on the market. Utah's housing shortage is actually worsening, not getting better. So whereas we were making a dent in things pre-raising of interest rates, once those interest rates shot up, we've been seeing fewer units being built, which has made the cumulative shortage of housing units grow last year and likely to continue to occur next year. In 31 of the past 32 years, we've had net in-migration, meaning people moving into the state, about 20,000 per year since 1991. The majority of those coming from California, Texas, these western states. An interesting fact about that is 26.2% of those people moving from these western states were born here in Utah. So a lot of people who've left the state are moving back to Utah. Obviously, where the most housing demand is going to be is in the populated areas where there are jobs and such. Salt Lake, Utah County, Davis County, and Washington County is making kind of a big boom down there. Okay, does it make sense to buy a home? In Utah, generally and nationally as well, it usually does, if you're going to be in a place for more than 5 years. So if you're going to set roots somewhere, buying a home is a pretty good financial decision. This is the All Transactions House Price Index, and it just shows in general prices go up. You've got some flats and some dips in places over time. But even since 2012, the Utah median home price was 166. So that's like right in the center. So half of the homes cost 166 or less, half of the homes cost 166 or more. In October, that median price was 485. So almost tripled in a 12, 13 year period. Salt Lake County, closer to 515 is the median home price. Since 2012, again, this is just showing prices have gone up. They've kind of flattened out here since they raised interest rates. There have been a couple downturns. This shows that since 1941, there have only been 6 years where prices went down year over year, and 2 years where they were flat. 73 out of 81 years, home prices improved. So you hear people say, oh, I'll wait for home prices to go down, wait for home prices to go down. Historically, that's just not going to happen. You could get lucky if you're a gambler, but don't bet against the odds is what this is saying. Why did home prices level out recently? Well, because they raised interest rates a couple percent almost overnight. I mean, pretty quickly. This is showing you how quickly that is, how quickly they raised rates compared to in the past. And then this is just showing that the home values in Salt Lake County and Washington County since from July to October have pretty much leveled out to 0 to a little, maybe negative 2%. There was a decent amount of depreciation deceleration or lower home prices pre-July in 2023. In December, compared to December last year, you have about the same number of listings, essentially. The price per square foot is down 0.1%. So again, essentially the same. Things are pretty stable right now. We think things are shifting and turning a corner as we've seen interest rates just lower in the recent future, or the recent past here, the last couple of weeks. Interest rates have been heading down, so that's good. The Case-Shiller National Home Price Index shows prices up nationally in September about 4%. So again, things are bouncing back price-wise nationally. The forecast for the interest rates, this was in mid-December when they put these out. They anticipated in Q1 2024 about 7% across the board. By the end of the year, low to mid to maybe high sixes. We're already in a lot of places below these numbers. So the 6.8, we're in the mid to low sixes across the board. So we're already there. So how much lower will they go? We don't really know, but they do appear to be heading that direction. So back to the 5 takeaways. Number one, you're highly unlikely to outsave appreciation. You might get lucky again, 7 out of 81 years, but highly unlikely to outsave, to save more than home prices go up. Number two, you need to adjust your expectations in real estate. You used to be able to buy a whole bunch with very little money. That's changed. You can still get a nice home, but you might need to get a starter home that needs a little bit of work. You might need to get a home that's on the little smaller side and use that equity as opportunities arise to build up into a better home over time, rather than jumping right into that awesome home from the get-go. Three, remember, economics favor homeowners, not just the buyers. But once you own a home, economics are in your favor. It's a great way to build growth and equity. And number four, we're never going back to those 1980 prices, those 1950 prices, never see those again. And buying now and refinancing later might make a lot of sense. So that's the state of the current market here in Utah. Let's see. These are just sources we used, but I'm Ben Clark again from Homebuyer Representation. If you're moving to Salt Lake City, visit us at hmbyr.com or message me for a free consultation. If you're moving anywhere else in the United States, visit RepRelocation.com, where we help you find the best agents to work with anywhere in the country. Now just like, subscribe, follow us, share on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Until next time, happy home buying.